Match 23 of IPL 2021 is also the first at the Firoz Shah Kotla. Let's look ahead to it then. Sunrisers Hyderabad and the Chennai Super Kings have made their way there. This is Maruti Suzuki presents ESPNcricinfo T20 Timeout powered by Intel. I'm Ronak Kapoor, and joining me shortly, Ian Bishop and Deep Dasgupta.
We call it people technology.
All right, gentlemen, let's get into our preview points. First up, Hyderabad must play Manish Pandey if fit. There's a lot of talk about this, Deep. What do you make of it?
I think they should. They have someone with that kind of experience. I do understand now that Kane Williamson is available. He might not get that number 3 spot where he's done so well for SRH in last year and so. But even this year, I mean, first couple of games, you can question his strike rate, but I think he's still got runs. So when you have someone with that kind of experience and skill set, I mean, he's batted at 4, 5, 6 for SRH for all the franchises that he's played before for as well, and for India as well. So, yeah, somebody with that kind of experience and skill set, and the position where SRH is right now, I would say yes.
Well, they did manage to play both Williamson and Pandey towards the end of last season, Bish. And all things considered, does he make a Sunrisers 11 regardless for you?
He does. I still like Williamson at 3. I've said that from the start, so I'm not being a person of the moment. But Manish Pandey can bring some experience, some solidity to the middle order, which is still a bit fragile. As Deep says, he's been in form, and he would have thought about his game and how he needs to adapt to situations. So yes, Manish, for me, has to be in there.
All right. Now let's go to a selection call for the Chennai Super Kings. Assuming Moeen Ali is fit and back, Bish, they have a call to make on who they go for as their 4th overseas. Lungi Ngidi, Dwayne Bravo, or Imran Tahir. This assuming, of course, that Sam Curran keeps his place for you. Your thoughts?
Yeah, Sam Curran for me does keep his place. If Moeen Ali is fit, if he's fit, he has to come right back. Not only for the off spin he offers, but for the batting at number 3, which has been very good this season. Now it's going to be a tough call. We haven't seen the pitch, right? So until we know more about the pitch, it's hard to speak with certainty. I'm still a fan of Dwayne Bravo, although he hasn't done much because he's still that death bowler. And it's not just because I'm West Indian. And Gilly's done well. His time will come again. But I still want the security of Bravo's Yorker bowling at the back end, his changes of pace. Now that Shardul Thakur has had a good game under his belt as well with the ball. And just as the extra batting option that he gives.
Deep?
Yeah, I mean, I'm all right with Bravo as well because he gives you a lot of experience and comes with a very specific skill set, as Bish mentioned about bowling in the death. But what also Ngidi and someone like Imran Tahir gives you is, I don't think you will need Bravo's batting as it is the bat deep. If you look at CSK, Bravo's playing the bat till 11, to be honest. I mean, Deepak Chahar would come at 11 or something. So I don't think you really would need his batting. But as far as bowling is concerned, what Ngidi does is, I think Bravo, Sam Curran, Deepak Chahar, we are very similar in nature in terms of pace as a seam bowler. So I would rather go with someone like an Ngidi, depending on the pitch, as Bish mentioned, or an Imran Tahir, who would give you something different, right? Who brings something different as far as bowling is concerned. Obviously, Ngidi with his pace, and then Imran Tahir being the leg spinner. So I won't be averse to looking at Ngidi or Tahir, depending on the pitch conditions.
All right. Now, what about the Sunrisers? They missed Bhuvneshwar Kumar last game. They brought in Suchit as a different sort of skill set to replace Bhuvi, but Suchit had an important to play with both bat and ball. So who makes way if Bhuvneshwar Kumar is fit? Deep?
See, if you've got 3 players who've got a lot of opportunities in the last couple of years and really haven't, performed as well as you would expect, someone like an Abhishek, a Virat, and a Vijay Shankar. Now, you've got, obviously, if Bhuvneshwar is available, Bhuvneshwar comes in. And then I somehow like Suchit because obviously I think he's got the temperament and also the skill set, and obviously last game he did well. So, I mean, someone like an Abhishek who can be a like-to-like replacement. I mean, that's what he brings as well. Abhishek, bat and left-arm spin. Suchit can do that because you also have to think about Bhuvi coming in. So you need to replace Bhuvi as well with someone. So I think there are options there. And for me, I would look at those 3 names to replace or rather be replaced by someone like a Suchit and Bhuvneshwar if he's fit enough.
All right, we already discussed Manish Pandey, so that's one change they might want to think about, Bish. And I know it's only one game, but is one game sometimes enough? You see a guy who's hitting it, and you think, all right, let's play Suchit, and we have to play Bhuvneshwar Kumar. Can you just be convinced with the effort of one game, especially with the kind of start Sunrisers have had?
Sometimes you can look and a guy comes in and he plays well enough, and you think, he actually is looking better than someone else that's in the team. But if Bhuvi comes back, in this case, if it's a fine line in terms of performance, and you've trusted, for me, someone like Abhishek for 2-3 games now, he hasn't set the world on fire. I would be inclined to stick with him and maybe have Bhuvneshwar come in for the guy who came in as a relief for one game.
Okay. All right. Finally, conditions at Delhi. Deep, you know the Kotla well. We're entering the first week of May now. What should teams do? Is it going to be similar to Chennai, where they don't know what they want to do to win the toss? Or do you have something in mind?
I mean, Delhi is that kind of a tricky venue where you don't really know what to do, because the pitch is on the slower side, slow and low. That's the usual nature of Firozshah Kotla, except one year where Moni Morkel had a great year. I remember that was, I think, 15 or 16. Apart from that, it generally is slow and low. But what helps the batsman is the dimension of the ground. It's like a smaller ground, so that helps the batsman. So get a little tricky in terms of what you want to do, win the toss first. But having said that, white ball cricket, you generally would want to chase. So your first reaction before looking at conditions, without looking at anything, your first reaction is, okay, let's chase, and then the different conditions come into play: the pitch, the dew factor, and everything else. But generally speaking, you would want to chase. But Delhi as a venue can be very tricky that way.
And this is the first game at the Kotla, Bish. But what about looking at where these teams are? Chennai at the top, 4 wins out of 5. Sunrisers struggling, 1 win out of 5. Does that dictate what a team ought to do in places like this?
It could, especially in Chennai's case, where their last 3 games are maybe off by 1. They've won batting first. They've sort of built up a reputation of winning at Wankhede, of all places, batting first, a couple of night games, and then that day game. So do you want to change that unless you're absolutely certain that there'll be a significant difference in the way the pitch plays in the second half rather than the first half? I probably would be inclined to stick with what's working unless I see something significant to change my mind.
What we've seen of the Sunrisers is 5 chases in 5 games. So there's something else. Maybe a change of venue will bring a change of fortunes. Thank you very much, Deep Dasgupta, Ian Bishop. This was our preview to that game between Sunrisers and Chennai Super Kings on Maruti Suzuki Presents ESPNcricinfo T20 Timeout, powered by Intel.
We call it people technology.
インテル入ってる。